When you're in the front office, right, and you build a team to win the Larry O'Brien trophy, I feel like you get a 5-year window where you can do whatever you want without any consequences. You can make bad trades, bad signings, bad drafting, and it don't matter. Because 5 years ago, you cooked up a championship level roster, and we appreciate you for that. Well, we are now 5 years removed since the Lakers won their championship, and I'm looking at Rob Pelinka like, brother, you messing some things up. Now, I can legitimately argue that the Lakers window is closed, which is hard to say, but it might be closed. A few episodes ago, we were talking about the Lakers, and my boy D Mills said that this upcoming trade deadline is probably the most important trade deadline of the Lakers LeBron James era. And I agree with him in real time, but now I'm thinking about it, it might be too late. It might legitimately be too late that Rob Pelinka has let the window of the LeBron James and Anthony Davis era close with just one championship. I'm sorry, I can't even say just one championship. One championship is a ton. There's so many franchises that would die to get one championship. So I'm not trying to minimize that championship, but I'm just saying the window of the LeBron James, Anthony Davis thing could be closing very, very rapidly. I feel like Mr. Rob has been like a year late to pretty much everything, where I look at this roster, right? And they have preached basically roster continuity more than any team across basketball, where the biggest changes they've made over the last couple of years was getting rid of Darvin Ham and bringing in J.J. Redick. And the J.J. Redick start was like a fairy tale. This team was looking great. They were doing some of the things, the recipe that led them to a championship back in 2020. They were hitting the offensive glass. They were doing this. They were doing that. And now that whole fairy tale start has wavered out, and they're sitting at 3 games over 500. And I want to show you this season compared to last season when we get to the advanced stats. The offensive rating is higher in league, but for the most part, it's a 1 point per 100 possession difference. The defense is slightly above 1 point per 100 possession difference. Turnover rate, free throw rate, almost these things are nearly identical, right? You could go to the frequency at which the shots are generated. At the rim, the Lakers have always been one of the best teams that get into the basket. This year, we're talking about less than a 1% difference than last year. Everything across the board is so very close that it makes you say, if we're on our second coach with the exact same roster and nothing has changed across the stats, then the problem is not necessarily coaching. The problem is with the roster construction. Now, I think we can agree that Darvin Ham had probably lost the locker room, so he probably shouldn't be coaching this year. But saying that changing the coaching was going to come in and change the whole dynamic of this roster was just lying to the fan base, and some of us took the bait. And I'm watching this Lakers team play, right? I'm watching them playing again. They're 12-9 after their game against Minnesota, where they didn't even put up 90 points. Matter of fact, did they hit 80? I turned the game off. I don't even know if they hit 80. Ooh, exactly 80. Well, I'm watching this game, and a plethora of their other games, because again, I love LeBron James, I love Anthony Davis, I'm gonna watch the Lakers, right? And I look at this roster, and I have the same problems with this roster this year that I did over the last 2 seasons. This roster is too small, they're too slow, and they don't have any athletes. A lot of the times I think about it like this: if we're not gonna be an athletic team, we better shoot that 3-point shot. Well, they are 25th in the league in 3-point frequency, and they don't have athletes either. And it's really apparent once you look at their transition defense, where these other teams across basketball can really get out and run, and the Lakers don't really stand a chance to get it back on defense. They don't have a perimeter defender that you really trust to go against some of the elite level guards and elite level wings across basketball. And it blows my mind that a 40-year-old LeBron James is practically the best athlete on the team. That should not be the case. Right, so this team lacks athleticism and they lack shooting as well, and that is just not a recipe for a team that's trying to win a championship. But then I think about it again. When we talk about how the window might have closed, I think about them having these tradable first-round picks, and I ask myself, is there anything that can be done for this season that make us believe that the Lakers can win a championship? Because if the answer is no, maybe it's not worth trading those picks. And I feel like that was some of the approach that Rob Pelinka had during last trade deadline and last offseason. Yeah, we can trade you 2 first-round picks for this player, but do we believe this player raises our ceiling enough for us to be winners? And I don't have the answer. But the reason I feel like it's happening a little bit too late, because I can't believe I'm saying this, LeBron does not look like a top 10 player in basketball right now. And it makes sense. The man is he's going to be 40 in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It makes sense that he's not the fastest or the quickest, or the jump shots not falling. He's 0-19 of his last 3-pointers, or he has an errant foul here or there, or errant pass here or there, or that Colin Sexton made him fall the other night. And then today I watched Dante DiVincenzo hit him with a big and he almost stumbled. So if Bron doesn't look like he's top 10, And Anthony Davis is starting to waver a little bit from the super great start that he had to start the season. Is the window closed? Is there a trade out there that can make us feel comfortable that even with LeBron not playing like top 10 and Anthony Davis looking like this, is there a player that can help mend things? And I don't have the answer for it. I literally do not know. Like, I think about the two major things I'm talking about. And I'm not just saying this because, damn it, I'm a Bulls fan. But you think about the lack of athleticism, or you think about the lack of jump shooting / three-point creation. I look at a guy like Zach LaVine again. I know the contract. Yeah, you ain't got to comment that. But he fits what this roster could really need. But even I look at it, you substitute Gabe Vincent, who, what the hell happened to Gabe Vincent? I never was a guy that thought he was going to come in and be super great, but this is way worse than I even anticipated. Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell, another Jared Vanderbilt contract. And is that substitute those players and putting Zach LaVine into this situation? Does that make me feel like they can beat OKC in a 7-game series? That make me feel like they can beat Dallas, or they can beat, I don't want to, who else? Who else is that? Denver, or hell, Houston? I don't know. But again, if everything across the paper is the same from last season, coaching wasn't necessarily the biggest problem. It was really with the roster construction. And I think the worst thing that could have happened to Laker Nation is after winning that championship, just a little while later, you guys went on that conference finals push with practically this roster, right? So you can convince yourself, if you're Rob Pelinka, to say like, hey, 2 years ago, we were a couple games away from being back in the championship, and who knows what would have happened if we would have got to that championship. And Father Time has not lost the battle just yet. That 2-year window, so much has shifted across basketball, and so much has shifted in your own roster. And I'm looking at, I'm watching, I'm like, Bron is still great. Do not get me wrong. But again, we're talking about top 10 player in basketball right now. I'm watching Bron, and at least in today's day, this is the second night of a back-to-back. Last night in Utah, you had like 24 and 14 or something crazy like that. And I'm like, bro, he looks completely gassed. And I think to myself, yeah, at the age of 39 years old, if there's anybody in basketball that deserves load management, the dude with the most amount of points and the most amount of minutes in the history of basketball deserves some load management going into his year 40 of his life. But they can't afford that. There's nothing on this roster that make me think that a LeBron is not hooping. Then they stand a chance. This Cleaning the Glass page is always one that I go to. Everyone, look at all of the orange. Offensive powerhouse, GOAT status, right? Until this year. What? This don't even compute in my mind. There's no way. I'm not even believing in that. I'm looking at this for the rest of my life. Forget the 2024-2025 season. One thing that Rob Pelinka and the Lakers always had was when they go into a playoff series, or you talk about the way they match up against other teams out west, you always were able to say, we are probably going to have the two best players in this series. More likely than not, we're going to have the two best players in the series. And I still believe that there are certain matchups across the Western Conference that you can go into that and you can still say that, even with LeBron not playing the level of LeBron played even in the Olympics this season. But there are a lot of matchups. So you say, if you got the top two in the series, the opposing team is going to have players 3 through 8. Because there's nobody else in this roster that we really trust. Shout out to the rookie Dalton Knecht. What a steal of a draft pick, but he will be a rookie going into his first postseason. Rui Hachimura has been able to give you moments in the postseason throughout the last couple of years of his career, but that's not something we really rely on or we're really trusting if we're the opposing team. So you can have your top two players, but we got everything else. We don't have to run y'all off the line because y'all run y'all self off the line. Nobody on this team you trust to shoot. Let's pack this paint. Anthony Davis, go ahead and drop 60 if you can. So get it back to the original thing when my boy D Mills was talking about this being the most important trade deadline of the LeBron James Laker era. I feel him. But I also think there's a world where it's a bit too late. Where do you want to trade a 2031 first round pick for a team that may not even have that big of a chance to go on a deep run? Do you want to give up that future pick that could be amazing once you consider Bron said he only got 1 or 2 more years left and Anthony Davis is 30 plus years old? 2031 is a long way from now. And we've seen teams over the last couple of years take that risk. The Phoenix Suns took that risk with Kevin Durant. The Cleveland Cavaliers took that risk with Donovan Mitchell. We're okay with giving up these super future first round picks because we believe that this player is what's going to put us over the top. And there's still a lot of time left. We don't know if those trades are necessarily going to work out or if those picks will end up being future lottery picks, top 10 picks, number 1 pick in the draft. but it made sense for those teams to trade those far away because the Cavs had a young stud in Darius Garland, another young stud in Evan Mobley, and a dude that was coming off an all-star appearance to Jared Allen. Add in an offensive dynamo like Donovan Mitchell can give us an opportunity to compete for championships, and here they are, 18-3. Trading for Kevin Durant was like a new owner syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Matt Ishbia came in and said, I want to change a lot of things. But before Kevin Durant went down with this injury, they were a top 2 seed in the Western Conference. Or even like Minnesota. And I mean, they aren't looking too great either. They won tonight against the Lakers and all, but them trading all those picks for Rudy Gobert got them to the point where they were competing to go to the championship, right? So there have been situations where it has worked out beautifully. There are other situations where it has hurt a team a ton. And the question is, will Rob Pelinka feel comfortable enough with making those trades, or will he concede and throw the towel in on this season? Because if they don't do anything, that's basically what he's doing. They'll always have this outside shot. We got Brown, we got Anthony Davis. We'll always have an outside shot to win a playoff series, maybe win 2. But let's be real. It's currently constructed. This Lakers team is not competing for the ring. And that's not the Lakers that we know. If they're going to compete, they're really going to compete. There's no half-assing with the Lakers, or at least it hasn't been throughout the course of my lifetime, at least until about now. So you let me know what you think. I've been sick for like 2 weeks, so that's why you haven't been seeing a lot from me. So for my people that's been hitting me up, we need a Magic video, we need a Spurs video, a Memphis video, a Houston video. Hey, I'm barely getting by right now, but I promise you, once we get it, I'm locked in. Appreciate you.